Hey everyone, Victor is here, and in this video I want to talk about the McLafferty rearrangement, which is a rather specific type of a fragmentation of carbonyl compounds that we see in the mass spectrometry. So how exactly this rearrangement works? Well, first of all, we need a carbonyl. Then we are going to have the alpha, beta and gamma carbons. We need to have a 3-carbon chain, and at the end of this chain on our gamma carbon over here, we do need to have at least one hydrogen. Then, when we are going to ionize our molecule, initially we are going to make our molecular ion, or ion radical if you like. Cation radical to be more precise. This species is rather unstable and it is going to decompose in a rather specific way, and that's why I even drew it in this cyclic form if you like. So the way it's going to work, we are essentially going to end up breaking a bond between these alpha and beta atoms over here, and typically, while there are quite a few different ways how this mechanism can be shown, we normally show this mechanism via the radical transformation, so using half-hook arrows. So we are going to show that this one goes here, this electron goes here, then that electron goes between my carbons, the bond between the alpha and beta carbons, one electron stays here, one electron goes there. As a result of this electron movement, we are going to end up with the following fragmentation pieces. On the left, we now have our cation radical, where the hydrogen, this hydrogen over here, which used to be sitting on our gamma carbon, now that hydrogen is sitting on the oxygen. We do have a radical sitting over here on the carbon, and that radical is stabilized by the resonance with the carbonyl. And on top of that, we also end up forming an alkene as our side product, which is going to fly away, and we are not going to detect it because, I'll remind you, the mass spec can only detect charged species. So the only thing that we are going to see here is our positively charged cation radical. So essentially, whenever you are looking at any kind of a carbonyl with the longish chain on it, during the mass spectrometry, one of the fragmentations that you are going to be seeing is the fragmentation where we are going to chop this molecule between the alpha and beta carbons, and the part where the oxygen is, where the carbonyl is, that part is going to be detected. Whatever is on the other side, that part is just going to fly away. So let's check out a couple of examples. Here I have a simple molecule of a ketone that is a 2-pentanone, and that molecule has a longer chain over here on the right side. So we have our alpha, our beta, and our gamma carbon, and those atoms, specifically the gamma carbon, that atom has hydrogens on it, so it is possible to do the McLafferty rearrangement for this guy. Let me clean it up a little bit. So now, the first thing that we are going to do in the mass spec, we are going to ionize this molecule. And as a result of our ionization, we are going to get the following cation radical. And I'm already setting up the molecule to show the rearrangement in this case. So I have my alpha atom here, I have my beta atom, and I have my gamma atom, and I will also show this one hydrogen at the gamma position. Now from here I'm going to show this goes here, then this electron jumps here, this electron goes onto the beta atom, and finally the last electron stays with the alpha carbon, giving us our newly fragmented cation radical, this species on the left, and we also have our alkene on the right side. So thinking about the two pieces, the two ion radicals that we are going to have in this reaction, we first look at our molecular ion, and the molecular ion, this species on the left, the initial ion before the fragmentation, well, that guy has the molecular formula of C5H10O, and the molecular weight of this compound, of this ion radical, is going to be 86. Now the fragmented species that we have on the right after the fragmentation is C3H6O, C30, and the molecular weight of that species is going to be 58. Now, is this the only fragmentation that is reasonable for us to expect in this molecule? Well, of course not. As the fragmentation in the mass spectrometry goes, we're always going to be looking for the most stable carbocations that we can form in this case, so a couple of other fragmentations that are possible are going to be fragmentation between the carbonyl and the alpha position, and that fragmentation is going to give us the following carbocation, which is stabilized by resonance from the carbonyl, so we might just as well show a structure looking like this. And I know that I'm showing an ugly bond angle over here. This angle should be 190 degrees, but just for the clarity's sake. So this species over here, that one is C2H30, and the molecular weight of that species is going to be 43. Likewise, we can have a fragmentation on the other side of our carbonyl over here, and in that case, we are going to get a carbonyl looking like so, where we have our plus over here, and like in the previous case, this is a favorable fragmentation because we can draw our resonance structure, and again, I'm going to show that resonance structure with an ugly bond angle looking like that, so that is a C4H7O species, and the molecular weight of that one is going to be 71. And of course, if I wanted to be an absolute stickler for the details here, for all of my species that I have these molecular formulas here, I should be drawing the corresponding charges. So the first one is going to be a cation radical, the second one is cation radical as well, my purple species is going to be a cation, and my green species is a cation as well. So in case your instructor is very particular about those type of notations, make sure that you indicate those things. Now, these are all the pieces that we have predicted we should be seeing in our mass spec. Well, let's look at the actual mass spec. So here is the mass spec of this molecule that I pulled off from the spectroscopy database, and let's see what we have. So our molecular ion weighs 86 atomic mass units, and look at this signal right over here. We have a signal at 86, and that is our molecular ion. Now the next one at 58, we have that one as well. So here is our 58 signal. The signal that we have at 43, well, that guy is sitting right here, so that is our signal at 43, and the last signal that we have at 71, well, that signal is right over here, 71 atomic mass units. So if we were just thinking about the most stable carbocation like we normally approach fragmentation patterns in the mass spectrometry, we would have been able to account for the signal at 86, which is our molecular ion, the signal at 71 and 43, which are our most stable carbocations, but we would have had a really hard time accounting for this signal at 58, because without the McLafferty rearrangement, it's quite unclear where exactly that thing is coming from. Now, let's look at a slightly different example. I have another type of a carbonyl, an ester in this case, and like in the previous case, I have my carbonyl right over here, and on top of that carbonyl, I have a long-ish chain, so I have my alpha, beta, and gamma atoms over here, so as McLafferty rearrangement goes, I would expect to break my molecule over here between the alpha and beta atoms, giving me the following two species. The alkene on the left, that one just flies away, and my ion radical on the right side, that is something that we are going to detect, so that species that we have here, that one is going to have the molecular formula of C3H6O2, and we'll show plus and dot right next to that guy, and the molecular weight of that piece is going to be 74 atomic mass units. Also, the original molecule, the molecular weight of our starting material, that one is 130 atomic mass units, or gram per mole if you want to think about it this way. And that one, if we have our molecular ion, we would see the molecular ion at these mass units. Now, like in the previous case, there are a couple more fragmentations that we can expect here. One possible fragmentation is going to be the loss of this OCH3 group, and in this case, like in the previous example, we're going to end up with this carbocation, which is of course stabilized by the resonance. That one is C6H11O species, and the molecular weight of that species is going to be 99, so we're going to be looking for that peak in our mass spec. And another reasonable fragmentation here is going to be this green one on the left side of our molecule, which going to give me the following carbocation, which is of course, like the other one, is going to be stabilized by the resonance, giving me the following resonance contributor plus another one with a triple bond if you like. So the molecular formula here is going to be C2H3O2, of course plus here, and yeah, I should have put plus on my previous one as well. So the molecular weight for this guy is going to be 59, so we're going to be looking for that one in our mass spec. And if I pull the mass spec of my compound, here is what I get. So the original signal that we would expect at 130 atomic mass units, well, that molecule is apparently not stable enough, so we're not actually seeing that one. But let's see if we can see the signal at 74. Well, we actually do. That signal is right over here. We have signal at 74. Then we have our signal at 99. That one is right over here, so that is our 99 signal. And of course, we can also identify a signal at 59. That 59 signal is right over here, so we have 59 signal. And of course, since this molecule is much bigger than the previous one, we have way more stuff over here because there are other fragmentations that are also possible here. So if you crank some numbers, you can potentially identify what are the other peaks here and what are the likely transformations that occur during this mass spectrometry fragmentation here as well. So as you can see, the McLafferty rearrangement helps us to explain species in the mass spec that otherwise we wouldn't be able to identify, like, 74 piece in this case, or if I look at my previous one, that was a peak at 58. Those peaks would not be explainable if you just look at, the most stable carbocation. But with the McLafferty rearrangement, you know what those pieces are. But of course, as I've mentioned, the bigger your molecule gets, the more different fragmentations you can potentially expect. So the bigger the molecule is, the more complex those fragmentation trees are going to be. So in the next video, I'm going to do more practice examples of the fragmentations in the mass spec, so make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss it. And as always, thank you for watching!